Once upon a time, there was a kingdom, in the lands far from them, there was freedom. The people in the kingdom insist that they have protection against others, otherwise there would be chaos. They insist that the people without their system are far worse off than they are. They insist that their system makes things most fair for everyone, otherwise some people will exploit things. They insist their system allows them to come together and do what's best for everyone. They insist that their system allows for mass efficiency and innovation. They plea that their values are important, that they must be taught to everyone, and that they are even worth fighting for. They insist their system has always existed, and though it must also improve, it must continue. Interestingly, the people in freedom say all the same things. Between both the lands of the kingdom and of freedom, there existed the slavedom. These were slaveholders who held many slaves, and surprisingly, they also say all the same things as those in the kingdom and in freedom. But both the people in the kingdom and the people in freedom agree that slavery is wrong. So, the people in the kingdom bring mainly weapons. They seek to bring the slaves to their kingdom. Meanwhile, the people in freedom bring mainly education. They seek for the slaves to enlighten themselves, bringing them to freedom. Resistance was met for both these lands, but they persisted with their efforts. People would cheer for this act of civility and strength. They cheer for a life without the slavedom. The slaves know no better system, many of them grateful. Soon, the slavedom seemed to have disappeared, as slaves were brought into both the kingdom and freedom. Now, there also existed remote peoples who were not in the slavedom. These were sometimes barbaric peoples, sometimes tribal peoples, and they had no interest in slavedom, kingdom, or freedom. They often fought among themselves. Because of this fracture and their neutrality, they were most targeted by all the lands, and if they were lucky, they were ignored. So, like facing the slavedom, the people in the kingdom bring mainly their weapons. They seek to bring these people to their kingdom. Meanwhile, the people in freedom bring mainly education. They seek for these people to enlighten themselves, bringing them to freedom. Resistance was met for both lands, but they persisted with their efforts. People would cheer for this act of civility and strength. They cheer for a life without barbarism. The remote peoples know no better system, many of them grateful. Soon, many of the remote peoples seemed to have disappeared, as tribes were brought into both the kingdom and freedom. One day, the people in the kingdom and the people in freedom come across each other. The kingdom assumes that the people in freedom are just remote peoples that they have yet to save. They see these people as perhaps slightly more educated but ignorant of their kingdom. The people in freedom assumes that the people in the kingdom are just under the slavedom that they have yet to save. They see these people as perhaps slightly more educated but ignorant of their freedom. So they converse. The kingdom claims to have freedom. Freedom claims they have no kingdom. The kingdom urges that they need a kingdom for their freedom. Freedom urges that the kingdom doesn't truly exist and that freedom is natural. The kingdom urges that true freedom can only exist with their limits, and therefore the kingdom is natural. Freedom urges that the true kingdom is already present within its limits, therefore freedom is natural. The kingdom sees that every argument is turned against them, so they can't cooperate, so it gives them no choice but to use violence. Freedom sees that kingdom is making claims which are superstition, so they can't cooperate, but they just want to be left alone. The kingdom can't let their system fall, so they urge their followers to do what they are told and fight those in freedom using violence. Those in freedom are given no choice but to defend themselves, but more important, they realize that they need to educate those in the kingdom. They leave each other, both having sympathy in spite of one another. The kingdom gives word to their rulers. Those in freedom gives word to each other. So word is passed through both the lands. Both lands know that to keep what they have, they need to be on the outlook. They need to teach their doctrine and develop their networks. Those in the kingdom prepare for mainly offense, using mainly weapons. Those in freedom prepare for mainly defense, using mainly education. Both lands see each other as incompetent. Those in freedom say, "Why would they attack us if they care about us, when we know we are not slaves and we don't want to fight them? We don't want a ruler, we don't need a ruler, but they are fighting for one. They must be a slavedom." And those in the kingdom say, "Why would they ignore us when they need us? When we know we are not slaves and we don't want to have to fight them, we need a ruler and they need one too, so we have to fight for the greater good. They must be a remote peoples. You are slaves. You are barbaric animals. We are proud to stand on truth in the spirit of freedom. We are proud to stand on truth and the patriotism of the kingdom. The kingdom is false. Your freedom is false." Well then, let's discuss. No point of discussing with animals. If you aren't animals, then don't treat us like you are. We must do what is right for the kingdom. So you guys are robots too? Where's your humanity? Some in the kingdom realize that they aren't fighting some barbaric tribe or slavedom. They are fighting freedom. They are fighting humanity. They are fighting themselves. They start to question if their freedom is the real freedom or if their order is the real order. But before the patriots of the kingdom clash with the spirited lovers of freedom, another kingdom arrives to the battlefield. We are the true kingdom, for the glory of Kaisereth. Those in the kingdom look appalled and say, "Choose your allegiance now, people of freedom." Those in freedom look appalled and say, "We have no reason to choose. We will win no matter what. Truth is on our side. Our true kingdom is no kingdom. Authority may be your truth, but truth is our authority." The kingdom says, "We will see about that. We will always be the true kingdom." The kingdom of Kaisereth pitches in, saying, "Not so fast. We protect and care for our people more. We are a constitutional republic. We have protected these lands more than anyone else. The true kingdom is Kaisereth." Those in freedom say, "Who is we, and what is our people? You protect with bloodshed. You educate with indoctrination. Don't you see? This is a more sophisticated slavery. You're just a pawn for your ruler." The kingdom says, "Our ruler fights with us, and definitely cares more than Kaisereth. Enough talking. It's time we settle this once and for all. With honor comes blood." So those in freedom back off to their lands, watching as the two kingdoms clash in their pride. There's no reason to fight for any ideology. We only fight for our freedom to have ideology. We can only educate because it allows for freedom. Freedom is therefore our highest ideology. And so people are suffering from all the kingdoms, both on and off the battlefield. While they are busy fighting each other, the overall people who believe in freedom continues to grow. Kingdoms try suppressing dissent, which only fuels more dissent. People are escaping their kingdoms, subverting their kingdoms, exposing their hypocrisy. People are organizing and trading voluntarily. They are educating, not imposing. They live by the golden rule. They live and let live. They do not harm and take no harm. They are creating abundance, so there's no need for war and people are self-reliant. They love community and have vigilance. They have the ability to send messages and call for help quickly. People actively watch for wrongdoing and take action, being responsible for their own property. Others ignore their own property and they feel their own karma. They don't create the right to rule in man, where wrong actions become right, where individuals are harmed for the collective. They don't give special rights to people for wearing a certain uniform or having a certain title. Morality is their legality, and evildoers are never given power. They know what freedom is so dearly. That is why they are free. The slavedom and the remote peoples never really knew, and so they have compassion for them. They are all remembering who they are. They are becoming mass enlightened to know thyself. They are healing from thousands of years of trauma and conditioning. It's not always easy. The kingdoms do their best to convince those in freedom that they need them, and that they should even fight each other. They exploit weaknesses and take advantage of the vulnerable. Every evil is used as a pretense for their system. They hide their rulership, their families going back historically to the slavedom, and they are constantly devising plans to mask their slavedom. They make their slaves into citizens. They make them feel happy, convincing them they aren't slaves, using comparison and superstition to maintain control. But those in freedom won't fight each other because they respect a difference in opinion, and they get to live the life they want to live for themselves. They will fight to uphold their values, but only if necessary. They can see through all the lies of the kingdom because most of the people in freedom were once a part of them. Sometimes they were the most devoted, and those in freedom never go back. Even if it takes centuries of time, the slavedom was gone. It was just a matter of time for the kingdom to be gone with it. We don't see remote peoples or tribes anymore either. Many practices we used to uphold are now gone. All that remains is what is true, and that is freedom. And as they said, they will win no matter what. They are us, the voluntarists, the abolitionists.